Hello, fellow stargazers. And here's my astrology report for May 2019 and the Taurus new moon. Now, before I jump into the Taurus new moon, I think it's important for us to rewind a little bit, go a couple months in the past to understand where we've come from to get to this Taurus new moon. So in February and March, it was very watery. That was the astrology element we were swimming through then, because Mercury, the planet Mercury, was in the sign of Pisces, and it was dancing in the sky next to Neptune, also in Pisces. Now, Mercury governs our cognitive functions, our perceptions of reality, our thoughts, our speech, our learning. And then Neptune is the god of the sea. Okay, which is a reference to the sea of consciousness, collective consciousness, spirituality, metaphysics, meditation, different levels of consciousness. So a very spiritually oriented planet and a very spiritually oriented sign, both of them in Pisces. So when you have the planet of mind, okay, dancing with the planet and sign of spirituality, it creates an inwardness, an introspection. It was a perfect, beautiful time for reflection and meditation and looking inward, exploring one's own rich inner life. Okay, it wasn't such a good time for getting things done. Classically, at least with Mercury retrograde, canceled appointments, life just not really working well. Misinterpretations, okay, of what people are saying. So, although there's a depth of thoughts and realizations and visions can occur during this time, getting them across to people isn't usually as fluid as we'd like it to be. So we were literally swimming through water and with weights on. That's kind of what it felt like. And trying to exist in this crazy, chaotic world on planet Earth is hard, okay, when the mind is turned inward, so to speak. Okay, so that energy carried through into April. Okay, and then things started to shift. Okay, Mercury finally left Pisces, thank God for its long detour there, and entered into the fire sign of Aries. Venus also entered Aries. And the planet Mars, the god of war, which is the planet that actually, rules the sign of Aries, entered a new sign of Gemini, an air sign. So we left the swampy waters of February and March and entered into the kinetic blast of air and fire. Air and fire like each other for obvious reasons. So it felt a little bit like a firestorm, but certainly a breath of fresh air. It's like, spring is here, finally. Okay, so it was invigorating. And this energy has carried through, into May. We're still, Venus and Mercury are still in Aries, and Mars is still in Gemini, leading up to this Taurus new moon. Now, before I get into what Taurus new moon means, we also want to talk about the other players involved in this new moon story. Now, first thing I want to do is look to any planets that are an aspect to the new moon. And there aren't any. It's leading up to a trine with Saturn, and it's leading up to a sextile with Neptune, but it hasn't quite gotten there. So the new moon itself is a bit naked. Okay, but there are a couple planets that are in charged locations of the chart that we need to tie in as well. So the planet that rules Taurus is Venus. Aforementioned Venus in Aries. And Venus is in a square to, which is a hard angle, a square to Saturn and Pluto. Okay, so since it's the ruler of Taurus, it's going to, be of special importance. Also, we have the planet Mars, in a dead opposition to Jupiter in the sky. So we'll have to tie those in as well. But let's first start with the Taurus new moon. Now, new moons in general are a transition point, a pivot point. It's like ending some old activities and starting some new ones, so it's an ending and a new beginning. It's a recentering. It's a good time for rituals, although that sounds a bit occult. Intentions is a good way to look at the new moon. It's like setting the intentions for the next couple weeks leading up to the full moon. Okay, so a recentering. So here we are recentering in Taurus. Now, Taurus archetypally is known as the bull in astrology. Now, a bull is simply a male cow. If you were to go visit a bull, at a peaceful pasture, you'd see it there just chomping away at the grass. Okay, you get this sense of, being one with nature, the sense of being present in the moment. Okay, these are animal instincts. It doesn't have to be a bull. It can be any animal. Taurus is about animal instincts, animal spirit. Okay, now Taurus likes to slow things down. Okay, one step at a time. It's an earth sign. It's about stability. It's about practicality. It's about simplicity. So there's a chicken soup kind of wisdom here with Taurus. Now, these fire and air signs, happening right now, doesn't like to slow things down. Okay, it's like a sprint. Okay, let go as fast as you can. Now, Taurus, likes to pace itself, and likes some recovery time as well. Kind of makes me think of the children's story like the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise goes oh so slowly and the hare just zips around and they decide to get into a race. Okay. And I'm sitting there as a child reading this book and I'm like, God, there's no way the tortoise is going to win. How is that possible? Now, the hare or the rabbit, although he's much faster than the tortoise, loses his way. Forgets the goal in mind. And in the story, he takes a nap, which isn't completely analogous to the point I'm making. The point is he gets distracted and the turtle wins. It's kind of like, what are you saying, Bryan? Should we go fast or should we go slow? And it's somewhere along the lines of yes, both. We are attempting to integrate the tortoise and the hare. So with all this fire, it's like go, 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 go. Okay, but Taurus says, well, wait a minute, let's pace ourselves. Let's integrate the Taurus and the hare. Okay, so it's still a great time to get things done, to multitask, okay, take on projects, but just remember to pace yourself. This feels much more like a marathon than a sprint. And it's also helpful to make sure your leisure time has a healthy relationship to your exertion, okay, so you don't burn out. So how do you take care of yourself and how do you get your R&R? You do it in Taurus ways, okay? It's very body-centered. Taurus is about the 5 senses, okay? So get out into nature, get a massage, give a massage, cook some food, listen to music. These are all Taurus activities. Taurus is actually the sign of the musician, okay? So although, this energy is very productive and proactive still, and Taurus does like to get things done and to work and to just plod along. Okay, but this plodding tortoise, has afterburners. It has this fire and air really helping it along. Okay, so Taurus wisdom reminds us to bring our conscious awareness back into our body. Okay, and doing activities that help you to do that because it's relaxing. Again, Venus rules Taurus. Venus is the goddess of peace, balance, and harmony. In terms of the evolutionary path of a Taurus, it's to calm down. It's to find that inner peace. So in a slightly chaotic environment, it's important to recenter in Taurus new moon, no matter what else is going on around you. I'll also say that according to Chinese philosophy, here we are in spring, which is a high yang. What they recommend is to exercise, get a fair amount of exercise during this time, which fits beautifully with this combination of energies, all this fire and air. And here we bring in the Taurus, which likes to be in the body. Now, of course, exercise doesn't sound very calming. It seems like it tires us out. But actually, you classically hear about the runner's high. Or you go into the gym working out for an hour and you leave feeling great, feeling centered, feeling balanced because you're really working on the body, focused on the body. So this is a great time to get some exercise in as well. And that will feed that inner peace that inner peace. So let's begin to tie in these other factors, these other pieces on the chessboard. So we have Mars, the god of war, in an opposition to Jupiter in Sagittarius, which Jupiter is the king of the gods. So we have a couple of gods going head to head here. An opposition just means they're dead opposite each other in the chart, 180 degrees from each other. Mars is about asserting oneself. Mars is about sharpening your will and developing your courage, like getting into the action, overcoming challenges. Okay, Mars is known as the planet of luck, of good fortune, of enthusiasm, of optimism. Okay, so on the extreme high end, your martial fire, so to speak, is backed by Jupiter enthusiasm, okay, which can really keep your spirits high when you're overcoming challenges. Okay, that's the high end. Now, a potential shadow side of this manifestation, which easily comes into play during a hard angle like an opposition, okay, is Jupiter is also the planet of excess, okay, biting off more than you can chew. Mars likes challenges. It likes to take big bites. Now Jupiter's saying, go, take big bites, so which can create a potential choking hazard, okay, if taken to extremes. So Jupiter, just be wary of excess there, because Jupiter is very encouraging in this regard. Also something to look out for with Mars opposite Jupiter is, at least on behavioral manifestations, is what I like to call the crusader archetype, or the aggressive preacher. Okay, so people can come across as a bit high-handed with this energy, especially if they're susceptible to, Sagittarius or Mars in their chart. Okay, so just be aware of that. Now, as I said, we have Venus in a square to Saturn and Pluto. Okay, I introduced Venus as the goddess of peace and balance and tranquility. She is. But she's more popularly known as Venus, the goddess of love. Okay, so dealing with relationship. So here we have the planet of relationship in a hard angle to Saturn and Pluto. Saturn and Pluto have been dancing in the sky next to each other all year so far, and will continue to through the rest of the year. And this will all crescendo in January of 2020. Okay, and this is a rare event. It's a powerful event. So it suggests great change over the next year. And also, this is affecting people globally, but anybody who has planets in their personal birth chart, which are sensitive to where Saturn and Pluto are in the sky right now, are feeling it as well. But here today, during this, Taurus new moon, poor Madam Venus, is in this square, 90-degree hard angle, okay, which tends to create tension, okay? So this is classically hard on the heart, okay? It creates frictions in relationships commonly. Again, especially if you're sensitive to the placements in your own birth chart. So when you combine this Venus square with the Mars opposite Jupiter, this doesn't create a dynamic that's really good for social accord or moods in general. It's not like you should avoid people, but if you really want to ride out the positive energy of this cocktail of planets we're working with, focus on accomplishing tasks and not so much on accomplishing people. If you do experience friction in your relationships, it's always important to look, remember what we've already said, which is recenter on Taurus. Find that peaceful place within. Realize compassionately the energy that's running through people right now, okay? And just recenter on yourself. Find that inner peace, inner calm, okay? And you can actually do this with the people close to you. Do Taurus activities together. Go out and do some gardening. Get your hands in the earth. Do a labor-intensive meal together, where you're really chopping the vegetables in the kitchen, listening to music. Again, Taurus is the sign of music. Do these ancient, earthy actions together or alone, okay, to really tap into that inner calm, that recentering. And if you're able to do that, if you're able to give yourself sufficient R&R equal to the amount of tasks you're accomplishing, you will ride this energy out very smoothly and be well prepared for what's coming with the Scorpio full moon on the 18th. Thanks for watching. If you like what you heard, please subscribe, hit the like button, comment below, and I'll see you on the next video.